Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls. It's now time for the best of Beaver County. For the next 30 minutes, you're going to learn about unique and interesting people in Beaver County. You can also watch live on Facebook at WBVP-WMBA. The best of Beaver County is brought to you by St. Barnabas. Here is your host, Frank Sparks.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the best of Beaver County. This week, we're going to learn about getting some help. So mom and dad, they might, be getting to the point where you might have to downsize, or they might need special needs, that need met. So we're going to talk about that. And joining us will be Charlie Jenkins, and she is a transitional care consultant for seniors, and she has a business that's called Jenkins Placement Services. Good morning, Charlie.
Hey, Frank.
How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Same here. So tell us a little bit about who is Charlie Jenkins to start with.
Okay. Well, first off, thanks for inviting me to this platform, and excited to talk to your listeners about what I do and opening up this conversation. So my name is Charlie Jenkins. I also go by Charlene Jenkins. Some people will know me as that.
Okay.
And I wear a lot of different hats. And the one that I do want to talk about specifically today is the transaction coordinator.
Okay.
Transitional coordinator for seniors. And that is, there's a lot under that. But primarily what I do in a nutshell is I help people when it's time for them to relocate with as much as they need done or as little as they need done, help provide services to get usually an older individual transferred from home to their next place.
Okay.
So there are different aspects of that, and usually you're talking about downsizing, you're finding a new location for them. Often a house needs sold, and then they also need moved. So I can do A to Z, or I can do a part of that, or I don't have to do any of that. I can just give information.
A lot of people, I'm sure, gain a lot of things over the years living in their houses too. So when it comes time to do all that and downsizing and selling, that's part of the process as well. But we're going to get into it and dig a little bit into it. So what exactly, did you grow up here in Beaver County? Are you from the area?
So no, I'm actually,
Okay.
I'm a transplant.
Okay.
I graduated from Union High School, Lawrence County.
Okay.
And I transplanted down here in 2010 when I was working at the medical center.
Okay.
So I was doing discharge planning in the medical center.
Okay. So you were a Union Scotty, huh?
I was a Scotty dog, that's
All right,
correct.
all right.
Yeah.
So tell us about education. After high school, did you go to college? What'd you do?
So I did. I went to college, and then I had a little bit of gap, and then I went back to grad school. I graduated from Pitt around 2000, and from that point on, I have primarily been working with the older population.
Okay.
So I went into senior housing, I did assisted living, helped with an Alzheimer's unit. Then I transferred into medical casework at the medical center in Beaver, also did that in Sewickley. Did clinical liaison work for some LTACs. And then I went back to Sewickley Hospital doing discharge planning and got my real estate license as well while I was working there.
So where did the interest come from to get into the line of work that you're in?
So it's been a full circle.
Okay.
It's very interesting because it's interesting to me because I grew up with a lot of elders in my family. So as I found out when I started working my business plan with real estate, I was also at the hospital. And what I was doing, I was moving closer and closer to what I had done earlier in my life with my family and family friends. And that's how I developed my niche.
Okay.
So what would happen is people would come into the hospital, bring mom and dad always around a holiday, and someone's declining, they're dropped off at the hospital and they need placed. Well, they need placed and they have this whole house at home, and the kids are going back to California, or they're doing something, or the kids just don't have time because they have their own work life.
Right,
their own
I get
families.
it. I mean, that's kind of wild that they would. I mean, I would never abandon my mom or dad like that, but I mean,
Well,
you know.
everybody's different.
Right, I got you.
Everybody's different. Everybody has their own story.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no judgment there, but you have this individual who may be placed somewhere. They come into the hospital for a fall
Mm-hmm.
or a diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
and they're having to be discharged as soon as possible.
Right.
They may end up there for the rest of their life.
Okay.
So then you've got, you've got a downsizing, you've got a real estate transaction, you've got a medical situation going on. There are a ton of moving parts. So that's really why I wanted to be here talking to you and talking to your audience.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. Let's get it on the table.
Right.
And let's talk about these things before something happens. Because
Plan ahead, yeah.
What's that?
Plan ahead.
Well, know what your options are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to plan, because here's what, nobody's plans on this.
Right.
Nobody plans. So my uncle a couple weeks ago, he fell. He's out riding around all the time in the car, grocery shopping, going to the watering hole, going to his friend's house, and he goes and gets some hot dogs and missteps. Okay, guess where he is right now?
In the hospital.
He was in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and crisis mode hit. They want him out as soon as possible. My aunt deplores nursing homes, so I was able to step in, and we were able to get him into actually he ended up going to Franciscan Manor.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she was fortunate because she had someone in her life who knew how to maneuver.
Right.
And knew that he didn't have to go to a nursing home. There are other options. That's what I want to talk about to people who are at home, who know in the back of their mind that this is coming.
Right.
Or they think, I'm going to do it one day. Well, let's talk about what your options are now, what you can afford now, how you can pay for it, so you're not surprised.
Right.
So you're not in an accident and then somebody is just sending you somewhere and you have no say in it.
Right.
And a lot of times that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, so when it comes to, is there a point in time too that you should start, like for me, I live in an older 2-story home. Is there a time that you should look at what your options are? Because obviously, as you age, sometimes you might not be able to live in a home like that, and you might need to transition into something smaller.
Listen, there are 55 plus communities.
Mm-hmm.
And I have started doing my downsizing and looking at, I don't have children, I'm not married, so I'm looking at the future. Where am I going to stay?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to be on one level? I need to be on one level going forward. I think downsizing is something that is really key. Our culture, our accumulation, our gathering of items. You wouldn't believe the things that I've had to throw away in cleanouts.
Was that something we go through at this age? Because I turned 60 this year, and I'm like doing the same thing now because I'm starting to think about it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting older. I know I do have a wife and I have kids, but I don't want to have them stuck with my clutter. So I've started throwing stuff out, getting rid of things I don't need, planning for later in life.
I think that's fantastic. I've started doing the same thing, and it might be because of our generation. Your family's probably the same age as mine, but you saw grandparents who went through the Depression who held on to everything.
Right.
Then the baby boomers who held on to everything.
Mm-hmm.
My mom passed away, and she had. Everyone who passed away in the family, there was some box or something there,
Right.
And I think maybe that's another reason why I'm so passionate about it, because these people get stuck with all those memories. They get stuck with boxes of memories that they can't leave.
Yeah.
And the quality of life that people can have if they can let go of those boxes of items, senior living is not what it was. It's not a skilled nursing home. Like I said, 55 plus communities are popping up with
Right.
golfing, with pickleball, with swimming, with activities. Assisted living communities have a lot of resources, have all kinds of fun things going on. And I'm concerned about the person and want to reach the person who is stuck at home. Maybe they're in a hoarded house. Maybe their caregiver is completely burnt out and they don't want to even think about, or they feel guilty about maybe talking about a placement situation. I want to reach those people, and I want to invite them to contact me. There's no sales pitch here. There's nothing going on. I want to educate you on what's out there. I want you to know what's available to you, and I don't want you to be afraid of it.
And I can tell, over the last few months since I've met you, that you are very genuine, and that you do care and want to do something. So take me through. I give you a call, and I say, hey, look, I'm getting close to, like myself, I'm gonna be 60. I want to look at what some of my options are. Take me through the steps of what you would do.
For a 60-year-old?
Yeah, well, 60, 70, somebody that would first call you and say, hey, I want to plan ahead, kind of look and see what my options are, and where I might be. And so what would be the steps you would take me through? So
you're a little younger. What I'm gonna
Thanks, you're the first person I know.
You're a little young to be calling me.
Yeah.
But
I get you though.
But you're maybe a child of an aging parent.
Right.
So maybe you would be calling me because of an aging parent and you don't know where to go, what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing, I take some information, ask what the situation is with mom or dad, and I ask to come and meet everybody and sit down and have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out, do they really need to leave, or do they just need resources in the house? Because sometimes people just need resources. And if that's the case, I pull out my information and we get resources for them to live there better and safer at home. If they really need to go somewhere, we talk about where they want to go. I identify what kind of needs they have. So it's a level of care, so to speak. What their needs are and where their budget is. And I personally go with the family or the caretaker, identify the different places that meet those needs, and then I go with them to those places and tour with them.
Okay. And I get what you're saying because, myself and our family, we got caught with our pants down because my mom and dad were on a trip, and my dad had a heart attack and died on the trip.
Oh my God.
So, and they were in Scotland.
Oh my God.
So that was all on the whole nother melee. But then once my mom got back here to the States, there was a period of time where we had to help her. She didn't, obviously there's that grieving period, and then she didn't want to be in the house no more. Then she wanted to move and she wanted to downsize. So she ended up downsizing into another community where to take care of everything. But there was that period of a year or more where it came on my brother and my sister and myself that we had to help her and do as much as we could because my mom is senior.
Sure.
And so we had to cut her grass. We'd have to do maintenance around the house for her. And then when it came time for the move, we were the ones that had to go through everything.
Yeah.
And it's tough, like you talked about. Even at that, you're looking at your childhood memories, so it's tough as kids to throw it out. And then
it's very hard.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying because we went through that, and fortunately we were able to wade through it. And my mom moved somewhere that takes care of everything for her, and she can come and go as she pleases.
Right. I can't get over the fact that happened to your father in Scotland right now.
Yeah. It was actually they were on a church trip, and they were over there, and my dad was sitting at a table, and he looked up and went, "Oh, how beautiful," and he died. So that'll tell you there's a heaven.
So what's that?
That'll tell you there's a heaven.
Absolutely.
Looked up and said, "Oh, how beautiful." And he was gone.
There we go.
He was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but so those are the type of things, and so those are the type of services that you could step in at that point and could have helped our family at that point in time.
Absolutely. So tell me, from your point of view, when you were going through all of that, what do you wish would have been different in that situation?
Help.
So if you knew that there was an organization out there, you could have just gone in, got the items that you needed, you wanted, and left it.
Yeah.
and your sister and brother or your family would have been able to do that too.
Right.
And a lot of times that's what happens because it does become so emotional for the family. They just have to walk away.
Yeah.
And couple of the guys, they're the sweetest. They've been with me for a while, and there are pictures, there are special things that you would think families would hold on to, and they've held on to as much as they possibly can. And I've told the guys, you don't understand what a help you are to these people by doing this. They can't throw those pictures away. They can't throw those letters away.
Right.
Somebody has to, and you're actually doing a service for them. I believe that, 100%. So,
It's tough to put that dumpster out front and throw away your parents' life and throw away your life, knowing. But what are you going to do with all that stuff? So that's what made it tough. But yet we knew that was something we needed to do, and it would have been easier if we had somebody just do it for us.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for somebody else to do it. I get that.
All right. Well, visiting with Charlie Jenkins this morning from Jenkins Placement Services. She is the best Beaver County this week. We're going to talk more about how she can help you. And if you have a situation or plan ahead, look what your options are. Not necessarily like you said planning, but look what your options are. And we'll talk more about it after we take a short break here on Beaver County Radio.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
And we're back here on Beaver County Radio. It is the Best of Beaver County. Charlie Jenkins from Jenkins Placement Services is this week's Best of Beaver County. And we're talking about downsizing. And we just talked about, like, for my family, it was crisis mode at that point.
Right.
We had no clue. And you don't want to face the facts. It's mom and dad. You don't want to face the fact that your mom and dad are aging and that eventually they're going to leave you. And you just don't want to face that.
No.
And that's part of the problem here. Is not looking ahead to know what your options are going into it.
Well, and it's not just hard for us, but, what's really interesting with the people who I've worked with is, 80-some-year-olds, 86-year-olds. There's this fellow that I moved out of his house, and he went into senior housing down in Beaver, and they were all older people in this high-rise, and he's like, I don't want to move down there with those old people. And, like, I get it. Right. I totally understand. No one thinks that they're old, and no one thinks that this is going to happen.
Well, that's them admitting. In their mind, they're admitting that they're old, and they don't want to admit it.
Absolutely, yeah. And then when you're faced with a living community where everyone else is old and you don't feel like you're old, well, there you go.
Right.
But I want to switch gears to caretakers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to share a story about a fellow who I helped recently. Now, I don't know if you know anyone who is a caretaker of memory impairment person.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Okay. That job can be extremely, extremely stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. People feel guilty about wanting to place someone. They feel guilty about thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's very, very stressful. It's more stressful on the caretaker than usually it is on the person who's dealing with the Alzheimer's or the dementia. So I want to reach out to the caretakers as well, and especially those caretakers. Oftentimes you'll find they're caretaking so well that their health goes by the wayside.
Right.
Okay? I want to be a sounding board or a resource for those people as well. I want them to feel free to call me, talk about what options there are, and let's see, maybe you don't want to do it now, but let's talk about maybe what a plan is, if you can afford, what you can afford, what we can do to help you.
Okay.
Maybe we can even help bring in supportive services so you can get out once in a while. It's an extremely stressful caretaking job, and those people need a lot of support.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So happy to help any of them.
I know somebody that's dealing with that now, and it's very stressful because then they can't leave. So
They can't leave.
No. So if they want to go somewhere, they have to put the person in respite so that they can go do what they have to do for a month or so. But it's another avenue you don't think of that you're bringing light to right now.
Respite is a great resource for people.
Mm-hmm. But affording it's another thing, though. Sometimes
Affording it is another thing.
Right.
There are some options to help pay for it, but you're right. Especially the longer we go, the more and more expensive they become. But still, that's worth a conversation. Veterans, there are benefits for veterans. There's long-term care insurance.
Mm-hmm.
There is selling a house, or moving your assets around. I've worked with some people, estates, and I tell you, I guess this is another group that I really want to hit on. The people who are living at home in a hoarding situation, or maybe you're at home and you haven't been able to keep your house up for a period of time. Maybe, there's leaks or it smells or whatever it is. I've seen it all and I've been in it all.
Mm-hmm.
And those people don't want anybody coming into their home because they're embarrassed, because they think they might be moved out of the home.
Right.
I want them not to worry about that. And I want them to know that you don't have to live like that. You don't deserve to live like that. And maybe we can get enough resources in there for you to live in your home, but not necessarily like that. There are other people. I had another fella from the area, buckets and buckets of money, living in 2 rooms in his house in squalor.
Wow.
You don't have to live like that. You don't have to live like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are resources out there, and there are other ways to live. A little fella who I helped place his wife, he was about 80 years old, and the only thing that he was used to was nursing homes. He was scared to death that the only option that he had was to put his wife in a nursing home.
Right.
So demystifying that and talking about all the options that are out there is another thing we can talk about.
Okay. Yeah, because there are, but part of the tough problem too, and that's where it might help to have, I guess, basically like a liaison like you, is a lot of times when you have that conversation or try to have that conversation with mom or dad, they don't want to leave the house. That's the hard part, is mom or dad has passed and they're by themselves and they demand that they're going to stay in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the tough conversation. How do you jump over that hoop?
Well, you ask why. You just you have a heart-to-heart conversation. And for some of them, a lot of them want to be in a different situation, but they don't know where to begin, because you're talking about maybe a homestead, children leaving their items in the home still. They don't have the energy, they don't have the resources to do that part of it, to do the downsizing part of it, then to go find a place. A lot of it is, hey, why? And if we could make this easier, would you be interested in it? And if you can have that heart-to-heart conversation, you'd be surprised at some of them that will move in that direction. Some of them are holding on for their kids. Some of them are just too weak to do it. Some of them are just too emotional for them to do it.
Right.
So this is an out for them.
Okay. That's very interesting, because I do see that a lot, that people don't want to leave their house because
Absolutely.
Mom or dad, or
And if they don't want to leave their house, maybe they don't have to leave their house right now.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe as the caretaker or as the child, that they could be living better in that home. They could be living safer. They could be living cleaner.
And it's tough because you have your own life to live as well, while you're trying to help mom or dad out in the process.
You're trying to long arm it.
Yeah.
You're trying to long arm it.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's a good term. Yeah.
Yeah. It's and not everyone has the option to, has the availability to move mom and dad in with them.
Or the one.
Well, there's that too. But yeah, so I mean, as far as senior living options, there is 55 plus, there's independent living, there are CCRCs, there's assisted living, and the range goes, anywhere from, some of them can be $3,400 a month, clear up to, depending on what kind of level of care, you can get up into the 10,000 range.
Right. So what if somebody can't afford that?
If you can't afford that, there are, it depends on, everything depends on your ability, your medical ability, your physical ability. There are what's called personal care homes.
Okay.
There is independent living, but at a reduced rate. There are, I just lost. Oh, there, if you can't afford it, there's senior high-rise living.
Okay.
I've helped people with that, and nothing wrong with that.
Right.
A lot of people will fall into that category. There are benefits and waiting lists you can get ahead if you're a veteran. That was the example that I had, my fellow who didn't want to move in with all those old people.
Okay. All right.
So there are options out there.
Okay.
Yeah. There are patio homes, and now housing is starting to move into housing for seniors.
Okay. I know a lot of people, there are the people that were frugal and saved and have money, but there's also people that live paycheck to paycheck and have nothing.
Absolutely.
And those are the ones that what happens there at that point? Is that somewhere, I know in the past we've had places like Friendship Ridge that somebody that doesn't have money can go somewhere like that. Is there other places that can help them? Okay.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. There's senior housing, and it's supplemented.
Okay.
And very nice housing as well. So you have in many of those places access to transportation, you have access to security. All utilities are often paid for in those types of situations, so it's very affordable. It's smaller, and you're not having to take care of anything. Yeah.
Well, when it comes to those types of services, go back over what type of services and everything that you offer in the last couple minutes we have, and how you can help somebody out, no matter what their needs may be.
So, first and foremost, if you're looking to relocate or you're looking to place someone and downsize a home, you don't know where to start, give me a call. We'll have a conversation, and we'll talk about what your particular situation is, and we can work out an action plan.
No.
I'm a senior real estate specialist as well. If you have a home that needs to be evaluated, I can help you with that. We can talk about for individuals who are in hoard situations where maybe selling the home off the market, not the traditional way where you don't have to get in there and people do showings and it be show ready, et cetera, et cetera. And we can also talk about affordability and what might be available for you.
Okay. How can they get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is my cell number, 724-714-1774. That's my cell.
Okay.
Feel free to call.
You have a website that they can look at?
Just my phone at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in and sharing your services today. Charlie Jenkins from C. Jenkins Placement Services, LLC, has been the best Beaver County this week. Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks, Frank.
All right. Coming up next, we have Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis will be joining me, and we'll be talking a little bit about the budget and what he likes about the budget and where it's at this point. So that's coming up next here on Beaver County Radio.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening to the Best of Beaver County. If you missed anything or want to watch previous shows, go to our Facebook page at WBVP-WNBA. This episode will re-air Sunday from 11:30 to noon. We will introduce you to a new guest next Thursday at 11 here on Beaver County Radio.
Escape to paradise without leaving Pittsburgh. Join Pittsburgh Brewing Company and U.S. Steel for